Hey guys, it's been a while since she's been in a video, so you know what that means. It's RESP time. In this video, I plan to talk about my daughter's RESP, how that's going, my overall thinking about my RESP strategy, and also this video is actually influenced by the fact that I've seen posts on people not knowing if they should move their RESP and something that is higher fee into Questrade, Wealthsimple, into something else and go with a lower fee solution. And here we have my daughter's RESP. She's about to turn 2. It's doing really well. It's been 100% XEQT since the beginning, plus 20.59%. And if you aren't familiar with the grants that the government gets you and you haven't started your RESP, please look into that because it's free money that they give you. And I get $500 per year if I'm able to deposit $2,500. And you can see here, I haven't maximized it this calendar year yet, and I will, because if I did, it would show 7,500 since this is the third calendar year of the RESP. I'm going to quickly show how these grants sort of look like on Questrade. After you deposit, after amount of time, it could be several weeks, more than a month, grant money is deposited into your account, and it looks like this. So depending on the amount you deposited. So I didn't deposit in one chunk 2,500. It was over time putting 250, 500, whatever I could afford to be able to put into her account. And the government sends her some grants here. So I'd previously talked about the RESP glide path that Justin Bender talked about, where XEQT is 100% equities, and over time, once your kid is closer and closer to using that money, the logic is maybe you want to shift a lot more into bonds because it's considered to have a lower variance. So like right here at the age 21 here, it switches to 100% cash at some point, which makes sense if you really want to conserve that amount of money at the end of its run, right before your kid has to use it for college, university, what have you. I've since changed my mind because I don't view the RESP as the only source of money that my kid will have access to. If the RESP XEQT does poorly or underperforms significantly for some reason over the next 17 to 20 years or whatever, then there is other money outside of that account, whether it's my TFSA, whether it's my registered account. There are other sources that we would use and split and divide up so that my daughter has enough for her education. And for that reason alone, that makes me think that I might as well just pick the strategy that has the highest expected value. And of course, this makes the investing so much easier. I don't have to adjust the stock and bond ratio. I just keep jamming XEQT, keep collecting that grant money, that free grant money, and investing that into XEQT. And I strongly believe I will see amazing results at the end once it's ready to be put to use. I'm going to end this quick video, by showing a post that's very similar to a lot of posts I've seen really recently, and it asks a lot of key questions. So hello everyone, I have my daughter's RESP with IA. She has about 9 more years before funds are needed for her education. Is the below a good enough performance? What are your RESP returns like? I started the account in 2020 and contributed the maximum. In the spirit of compounding, can I throw in more funds above the $2,500 limit? Is it also possible for me to leave this with IA, then open another RESP account with Wealthsimple where I invest any excess funds I can? Thanks. So just to answer like the quick ones, which is the last few, yes, you can open another RESP account, and the limit, if you search it up, is $50,000 per beneficiary. Now the $2,500, people usually think about that as the limit because that allows you to get the maximum amount of grant money. Anything above that, you're not going to get extra grant money. So there are pros and cons to investing more than that limit because you don't want to use it all up at the beginning because you might not, like let's say you invest $50,000 the first year, then you're not going to get grant money for future years because you've already hit the limit. You're not able to invest that $2,500. However, that is not necessarily a bad thing because that $50,000 is also going to compound faster in the sense that you have way more invested in XEQT or whatever fund you decide to choose. So it's not really a simple answer of, okay, this is a good idea, this is a bad idea. In fact, there's a thread I remember seeing, I just dug it up. If you had $50K available to invest and you just had a child, what's the optimal way to fund your RESP? This thread is a fairly deep look at that. Found myself in a discussion about this last night. There are two typical answers to this question, but the real answer is deeper. So I'm going to provide a link to this thread, but it's a lot more complicated. But if you have like just a bit more than $2,500 a year that you want to invest, you don't really have to think about these complicated questions. This is more like if you had 50K. So just keep in mind that the answer is not that simple. Now let's get back to funds and returns. I want to talk about how right after we had our daughter, a few days later, a company approached us to open an RESP with them. And turns out to be, I think it was Knowledge First, but one of those companies that charge a significant fee compared to XEQT, like 2 to 3%. And we have the same thing here where the opening poster here talked about how this fund has 3%, but in fees, but it has performed well. I think the key thing I want beginners to know is that past performance of several years do not matter. But I'm not really sure how to convey that 5 years is not a long time, other than the fact that academic studies, they use a larger data set, like that Scott Cederberg paper we talked about in a few videos of mine. He used 2,500 years worth of data. So 5 is just so small, so noisy, so many specific things happen like COVID, the advancement of AI, we cannot use that to really predict the future. That's why I don't really care about the past returns of XEQT. I invest in that because of its overall investment strategy, about the philosophy of being globally diversified. And that's why many actual financial advisors like Ben Felix, Justin Bender recommend XEQT or other all-in-ones. So please, I encourage everyone to research, look into, read up all-in-ones and why they are the best for most people. Again, I want to emphasize 5 years of performance doesn't really mean anything. It's kind of like those people at the roulette table. They're trying to find a pattern of red, black, red, black. Oh, it's been black 5 times, so it must be red this time. This type of thinking to try to predict the future, yeah, it doesn't work. But deeper analysis has shown that fees really matter. 2 to 3% versus 0.2%, that's going to matter a big deal over the long run. I'll end this video by, again, talking about how you have to look into why past performance does not really matter. And there's a lot of threads, posts by well-meaning individuals that have the best intentions, but when they're just comparing different funds over such a short period of time and everyone's like, oh my God, this is amazing research. My opinion, just to be clear, is that that doesn't mean anything. The data sample is not enough. It's not significant enough. It doesn't mean anything at all. And I'm sorry to say that it's not, I wouldn't consider it amazing research. So be careful out there. With that said, I'll see you in the next one.